Well, hello, welcome again to our reading through of Colossians, and I'm in chapter 1, and I got up to verse 9. And the heading here in my edition is the person and work of Christ, and there's a lot of very complicated Christology here, which I will leave it up to the commentaries and learned books to write about. I'm just going to translate and explain some of the Greek. So, dia tuto kai hemos, aphes hemeras ekusomen u paomatha hupahumon pros eukomenoi kai aitumenoi hina plerothe titan epignosin tu thelematos auto in passe sophia kai sun esse pneumatiki peripatesai axios tu kuriou es pason areskeon in panti ergo agatho carpa foruntes kai auxomenoi ta epignose tu theou en passe duname dunamumenoi katatok kratos tes doxes auto es pason hupomonen kai macrothumian. Another one of the very long sentences here. On account of this, we also, from the day on which, so it's that usual same expression we had in the earlier part of chapter 1, where the antecedent comes after the relative pronoun. So on account of this also we, from the day in which we heard, aorist from akuo, we are not ceasing from power. Now, power in the active means to check something or to stop something. In the middle, paomai is to check oneself and hence to cease. So just to note that particular verb. So we are not ceasing praying and making request from ITO, hupa humon, on behalf of you. This is the middle participle here. I think ITO is to ask for, and this is a middle, I think, just asking. It just makes it more personal. So praying and asking on behalf of you that plerothete is an passive from plero. Plero takes two accusatives normally, and so that's when it's in the active, and so in the passive here it's odd, it's taking a single accusative, which is not generally what happens with the passive, but that's what it's doing here. So originally a double accusative, in the passive a single accusative. So in order that you might be fulfilled, understand with, perhaps in respect of, the full knowledge of his will, from thelema, genitive, en passe sophia, in all wisdom, and spiritual, from pneumatikos, sun esse, dative from sun essis, understanding. Sun essis is connected with the verb sun hiemi, to understand. So the abstract noun, third declension feminine, sun essis, understanding, with spiritual understanding. Peripatesai, now peripatio is to walk around, but it's a Septuagintalism. It's used in the Septuagint very, very frequently to translate halak, meaning to walk, and hence it comes to mean to conduct one's life, to live. But we just translate it to walk worthily of the Lord. As pasan ariskeon, ariskeia is interesting word in classical. It's a classical word, often with negative connotations, but not here. Connected with the verb aresco, to please, and this is the abstract noun, first declension feminine, meaning a desire to please. So it's literally in regard to each desire to please. So some translators have rendered this something like as seeking to please him, that is God, in all things. So to walk worthily of the Lord, seeking to please him, something like that. Literally with regard to each desire to please. En panti ergo agatho, in each good work, or perhaps with each good work, the en could be instrumental here. So with each good work, karpa pharuntes kai auxanomenoi. This combination occurs a bit later as well in this epistle. It's from karpos, fruit, and phorio to bear. Oh, in fact, it occurred earlier, didn't it? It was back in verse 6 that we recorded before. It's the same combination, karpa pharuntes kai auxanomenoi. So bearing fruit and increasing in the full knowledge of God. And passe duname, it's being empowered with all power. This is from dunamo. This is a present participle. It's an omicron contract verb, dunamo. So being empowered with all power, according to the kratos, now this is a third declension noun, neuter, according to the might of his glory, with regard to all steadfastness and macrothumia, long suffering. It really means sort of big-heartedness, or your thumos was in earlier Greek was thought of as your sort of life force, but here macrothumia at this stage just means long suffering. So in all steadfastness, connected with meno, of course. In all steadfastness and forbearance is another way of putting this. Now the editor here has put a full stop here and taken metakaras with the next clause. Others take the metakaras with the earlier section, but this editor's put a full stop here. You can see there's variations in the punctuation. So metakaras, eucharistuntes to patri to hikanosanti, giving thanks with joy, from kara, to the Father, the one, so this is from hikanoo, it's an omicron contract verb, so it has the sense of to make sufficient. So to the Father, the one having made sufficient, or perhaps having made fit, others translate it as. So giving thanks with joy to the Father, the one having made fit, hemas, us, so having made us fit, with regard to the merida, this is from meris, third declension noun, with regard to the portion of the kleros, this is the apportioned lot. So something like for the share of the inheritance of the saints, ento photi, in the light, dative from phos. Hos erusato hemas ectes exousias tu scotus kai met estes en estan basilean tu huiu tes agapes autu en ho ekomen kai apolutro sin tan aphesin ton hamation. Who, or perhaps almost he here, it's just a relative. Erusatot, this is from ruamai, to save or rescue. This is the aorist middle, it's a middle verb, so aorist middle from ruamai, who rescued us, ectes exousias, from the authority, literally, to skotos. Skotos is a third declension Newton noun, so this is the authority of the darkness. Kai met estesen, from meth histemi, if you're looking it up, meth histemi, transferred, understand us, into the basileia, into the kingdom, now literally of the Son of his love. Now that strikes me as a bit of a Hebraism here, possibly meaning his beloved Son. So elsewhere in Greek you get agapetos, meaning beloved, that's that adjective. Here we're getting into the kingdom of the Son of his love. Hebraism in the sense that probably affected by Hebraic thought. Hebrew's got very few adjectives, and so it uses this kind of construction, this so-called construct state of to avoid trying to use adjectives. So into the kingdom of his beloved Son, we would say. In hoi, in which, or perhaps now probably it's referring back to huios, so in whom perhaps, we have the apolutrosis, the redemption, and then in opposition to that, the aphesis, this is the forgiveness from aphiemi, to let go of, so the forgiveness of the sins. Hos estin akon to theou to oratu prototokos passes ktisios hoti en auto ektiste ta panta entois or uranois kai epiges ta orata kai ta aorata eti thronoi eti kuriotetes eti archai eti exousiai. Now it starts to become very heavily theological at this point, and again you'll need to look at commentaries here. So it says, he is the icon. We cognate with our word icon. So he is the image of the invisible God. The prototokos, the firstborn of all ktisios, creation. This is from ktisis. It's connected with the verb ktisdo, which we're going to see in the next bit here. It means to create. It means to found. The original sense of it was to sort of set up or found, and hence create. The prototokos is from protos, and then the tok root here comes from the verb tikto, I bear. Tikto, texamize the future, etekon, and tetoko, I think, is the perfect, and you get that tok root from tikto, to bear. So he's the firstborn of all creation. Hoti, because in him, tapanta, neuter plural singular verb, and there's the verb ktisdo, aorist passive here, because in him all things in the heavens and upon the earth were created. Neuter plural subject singular verb. Ta orata, the things which are seen, this is connected with horao, and the things which are unseen. So this is ahorata, alpha privative here. Now we get 80, 80, 80, 80, so whether thronoi 80 kuriotetes. This is third declension from kuriotes, if you're looking it up. So literally, whether thrones or whether powers or dominions, connected with kurios of course, or whether archai, now these are abstract nouns, whether archai, which something like sovereignties, or whether authorities. Now this, I'm not going to get into too much into the theology here, but it appears that these first two terms at least have a sense of angelic powers, angelic thrones and powers. So these are not earthly authorities, not earthly dominions, but spiritual ones. And it's a matter of debate as to whether the next two are similarly. I wondered whether, given he's talked about that which is seen and that which is unseen, whether we've got a kind of chiasmus here, so that these two things are referring to the things which are unseen, so these are the angelic or spiritual powers, and then perhaps the next two are referring to the horata. These are the earthly authorities, the archai and the exousiai. Anyway, just a suggestion there. Tapanta di autu kai es auton ectistai, kai autos est in propanton, kai tapanta en autos son esteken, kai autos est in he kephale tu somatos tes ecclesias. Let's pause there. Again, the neuter plural subject, singular verb. This is a perfect passive from ktisdo here. So because it begins with two consonants, you can't reduplicate, so you just augment in the perfect passive. So all things have been created through him and in him. Interesting combination of words here. So all things have been created through him and in him, and he himself is before all things, and all things, again neuter plural, subject singular verb, sun estaken, from sun histemi, cognate with our word system, something like all things have been established or are established in auto, in him. Kai autos, and he himself is the head of the body of the church. And I think at this stage we must translate this as church. Hos est in arche prototokos ekton nekron hinagenetai en passin autos protuon, hoti en auto eudokes en pantopleroma katoi kesai, kai diautu apo katalaxai, ta panta es auton. Erenopoiesas, dia to hymatos to staru out to, and in brackets we get d out to, aetita epites geis, aetita entois urinois. So he is the head of the body of the church. He is the beginning. We get prototokos again, the firstborn from the dead, in order that he might be en passin in all things, and he himself protuon means to be first, to be preeminent. You can see the protos word here. This particular word's not elsewhere in the New Testament, but does occur in the Septuagint and in late classical writers. So in order that he might be in all things himself preeminent, because in him, another very interesting theological statement here, pantopleroma, pleroma, again a technical philosophical word in Neoplatonic philosophy and in various of the early Christian sects. It's an interesting word. I'll leave the commentators to debate it. So because in him all the pleroma, the fullness, eudokesen, from eudokio, was pleased, this is an aorist without augment, was pleased katoi kesai, to dwell. Christology here is very complicated. Kai di autu apokatalaxai tapanta es auton. And through him, apokatalaxai is from apokata alasso, apokat alasso, to be completely reconciled. And through him all things. Now this is an infinitive here, and it may be after this verb here. So in him all the fullness was pleased to dwell, and through him all things to have been, or to be, completely reconciled in him. We get a sort of infinitive here. It's not clear what it's dependent on. In him. The erenopoiesas is from erene, peace, and poio, to make. So having made peace through the blood of his cross, and then through him in brackets, whether the things upon the earth or the things in the heavens. Yeah, the infinitive must be after this hoti, I suppose. Here it's hard to see what it's doing here. So it's just an infinitive the subject of it is tapanta. So all things too have been reconciled through him, and then in him. We saw that same combination earlier, back up here in line 16. So all things were constructed or were created through him and in him, and now all things have been reconciled through him, and there's no and here, but in him. So interesting structure there of that, and that's the next section of chapter 1.